COP28 is well underway in Dubai as global leaders meet to discuss the ongoing climate crisis. Now, the Paris Climate Agreement did set the stage for net zero carbon emissions by 2050, giving companies a deadline of how quickly and efficiently these emissions need to fall. But our next guest does say that in addition to providing some clarity, the time limit has contributed to a, quote, dangerous complacency. We want to bring in Henry Fernandez, MSCI Chairman and CEO, joining us now. It's great to see you here, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us from COP28. Let's talk about that quote that I just read there, a period of dangerous complacency. I guess help put in perspective for our viewers and for us some of the challenges that you see it presenting in terms of that timeline.
So the Paris Agreement that was reached in 2015 is going to be remembered as one of those landmark agreements in the history of humankind. So, we all celebrated for sure. Part of that, though, was that the date that they put for decarbonization was an outside date in order to get 200 countries to agree, and that's always in 2050. This problem is happening right now. There is existential threat to the world, to portfolios, to companies, to households, to people living in all areas of the world. So it has led to some complacency that they don't have to deal with the problem until the 2030s and the 2050s or the 2040s. This is already happening.
Henry, it's amazing because we're coming off of and probably about to close the books on what might be the hottest year on record that we've seen. And so there's been even more focus around what the real impacts in volatility and climate mean and the steps that we need to rapidly take. Thinking through COP26 and COP28, and what world leaders are saying going into and even during some of these meetings, does it sound like they are sounding the five-alarm fire to say we need to do something right now?
For sure, we all need to blow the horn that, this is a clear and present danger to all of us and the world. A lot of progress is being made. But there's still a long, long way to go. So I think world leaders are trying to do that. They're trying to alert their citizens, their population, that it's something to be taken seriously. That it doesn't mean that it is all of it is happening right now or that it will happen in the next few years, but that we need to get on this process of decarbonizing and de-risking and finding alternative sources of energy so that we can have the $100 trillion economy thriving and creating prosperity and economic growth for citizens of the world.
When it comes to some of the priorities or I guess opportunities and the risks in terms of how companies are assessing climate risk, you talk about the fact that there's an essential need for the finance and investment in terms of finding some of those large scale solutions. I guess how are companies assessing this in your perspective?
So the first thing is that, like any market, when there are investors and users of capital, that all of that depends on information, depends on data, depends on analysis, views, judgments, opinions, research. And we're at a stage in which that's what we're building now. We're building the information so people can assess the opportunities and the threats in their portfolios with all those companies, or whether it's equity or bonds or alternative investments. So a lot of what is being worked on right now in these COPs is the infrastructure to provide that. It's about the disclosures, it's about the data, it's about the regulations, it's about the analysis. And then over time, then people are going to start looking at all of that and determine what is a good value, what is a bad value, what is a good risk, what is a bad risk, and then determine prices and determine trading. What you buy, what you sell, what you keep. So right now, a lot of the focus is building that foundation. It's a means to an end, right? It's the foundation to being able to then assess risk and return in securities and in investments.
Henry Fernandez, MSCI Chairman and CEO. Thanks so much for taking the time to help us break this down. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.